Hello, I'm Brian Wroten, senior reporter with CoStar News Hotels, and I really don't think I need to introduce you, but just for the sake of standards, and I know you guys like keeping things within the brand standards, but I'm here with Leeny Oberg, Chief Financial Officer and Executive Vice President Development with Marriott International. Leeny, I know you have such a busy schedule. I mean, all the time, but especially at a conference like this. So thank you so much for
No,
for
it's
taking
great,
time.
great to see you again, Brian.
Uh, I mean, the thing everyone knows right now, you are retiring from Marriott after 26 years with the company, uh, 10 years as chief financial officer, and as we were just talking about, 3 years also with the executive role in development. But I mean, wow, what a career to have within Marriott itself, and all that. But I guess let's just talk about how did you get here? What was the path you took to make it to where you are now?
Oh, I think it's like it is with most people, which you take kind of a year at a time. And fortunate enough to join the company and find that it was both a kind of a role, function in finance that I loved, but also a business that I just became incredibly um, attracted to and immersed with. And I think there started doing a bunch of different experiences and grew with the company. And fortunately, I had an opportunity to try my hand at a number of things, including international, and ultimately become CFO. So, I think for many people, the reality is it's not a certain plan, but your career evolves over time and ended up kind of being here and loving it.
I mean, that's the ultimate goal, isn't it? To like what you're doing.
Uh, you know, I can still remember my father always saying, you know what, you'll be working for a long time, so make sure you love what you do.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And unfortunately, there are too many people out there who don't. So it's for
Very fortunate.
those who do, it's always great to hear that is the case. So I mean, I'm sure you've had a chance to reflect and look at the different accomplishments you've had, the different uh, you know milestones and experiences you were able to have through your career. What are some of the things that really stand out for you as like I'm so glad that I got to be part of this?
So I think the two things that I would really stand out as highlights for me is number one, an orientation around growth. I think always thinking about the business with that sort of hunger for more growth puts you in a position to keep you looking around the corner, make you adaptable, makes work more motivating, frankly, brings you the best talent. When there is this clear desire to win in the marketplace, to kind of beat the competition and do more. The reality is, with 7% of global market share, we still, with all the growth that we've had, which is we've more than doubled in size since I became CFO, and I think it really then makes you very excited about what's to come. So I think that's one. And then the other one is very much around people development. I'm a huge believer that to have a long term successful business, you've got to make a huge emphasis on developing talent. And that is not a stand and watch it sort of thing. That needs to be a proactive discussion with your associates about how to grow their career, how to get more experiences, what they can learn from people who've gone before them. And that's probably one of the most satisfying things is to watch kind of great young associates move up through the ranks, get a variety of experiences, and then watch them take on bigger and bigger leadership roles, which again makes me excited for the company going forward.
I gotta imagine there are plenty of people who through Marriott you saw them start their career,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're running into them and
It,
they're an
it
executive.
is, it's honestly, it is at the end of the day all about the people. Frankly, not just in our business, but in most industries at
Right.
the end of the day. It is really so much a function of the people. And so watching that and kind of watching people enjoy their growth and their opportunities to grow their career is very rewarding. And also to watch how much it helps the company. I mean, that's part of the fascination, is to see somebody in one role then move to a different discipline, take what they've learned in one, bring it to the next, and then build on that. And that I will say, when you sit in my seat, you get an opportunity to see that across the company. It's really exciting.
One major accomplishment with Marriott in your time there, uh, we're coming across the 10-year anniversary of it. Uh, that is when Marriott closed on its acquisition of Starwood, which, when you're talking about growth of the company, that was
Yeah,
a major jump in growth. And that's what put Marriott over with the million room count, which up until that time, that
right.
was just like an ongoing race, like who's gonna do it. So, I mean, 10 years later, what are your thoughts then just on the process of, yes, this is it, we're gonna do it, we're gonna make it, the regulatory process you have to go through, uh, the little bit of disruption from a competitive bid trying
Mhm.
to take it away,
Yep.
and then actually the whole, crossing the finish line and integrating it
Right.
into the system. Like, this is something that took a long time to do, and then years after as well to really bring it all together.
It was clearly transformative for us as a company. I would say there are a couple things that really stood out to me, besides what you talked about, Bryan, which is the things that we kind of all know are part
Mm-hmm.
of a huge acquisition. There are big integration challenges, there are obvious regulatory ones. You got to make sure you win the deal at a price that you think is fair and will create value for your constituents. That part is all the case. But I think when you go through these big things, you also end up having learnings that are ahas.
Sure.
One of them is about teamwork. And when you're an organization as large as Marriott, when you watch the team pull together to be able to make sure that you are catching all the pieces to then put together the whole package to move forward, the critical component of how well a team works together and is willing to kind of all get in the rowboat and row in the same direction has never been more apparent to me, as during that, and similarly during COVID for that matter. So I think that's one. And then I think the other is the double-edged sword that it cost more than we expected in terms of transition costs, clearly more. And at the same time, the value that we ultimately got out of the entire transaction was meaningfully more than we had even anticipated at the beginning. When you think about size and scale, ability to really transform Bonvoy into something that
Mm-hmm.
is I think globally growing faster and much bigger than we had really even imagined back when we did it. And that certain adjacencies become all the more valuable because of that size and scale. So I think there were the obvious learnings and experiences that we take with us to make us better going forward. But I also think there were some unique ones that everybody experienced that made us realize that it was even better than we thought.
Of the various hats that you wore through your career with Marriott, uh, anything in particular that was like, oh man, I really enjoyed doing this. This was the thing that, uh, maybe even something unexpected, that like, this was more enjoyable, this was more interesting, this is more fulfilling than I thought it was going to be.
I when you're kind of going through the early days in your career, kind of figuring out what you like, what you don't like, what you think you'd be interested in. I had really always loved classic finance, and from that standpoint, this idea of having figuring out what the financial resources are needed to make a competitive strategy happen, but then to make sure that you get the value you want. So it's this matching of business strategy and the resources needed to execute it. And I've really always personally really enjoyed that study. And so what I did find is, sure enough, that is what I love, which, all the basics of, classic valuation and academic finance theory are enjoyable. But when you put it into practice and think about what you need to be successful and how you measure that success relative to finance and what capital it's going to take to achieve it, and it's kind of always in use in our business, given the reality of hotel ownership, et cetera. It's in use every single day. And that part has been what I always thought I'd enjoy, and it has probably been the part that has made my job the most interesting. It's always changing. And if you do feel like when you try to get it right, that it works, marrying up good strategy with good management of financial resources.
So what you're saying is you were one of those kids in school who actually liked math class.
I guess I have to admit. And the reality is our stock, since I became CFO, our stock has more than quadrupled, while the S&P has more than tripled. And, that's despite COVID. And so I think it shows that long term, you've got to have long-term strategies that you're putting to work to win. It's not just quarter to quarter, month to month, and RevPAR, et cetera. It's really putting in place strategies to help you win, and kind of looking at that track record over time will show you how you're doing. And again, that part is also nice to kind of hold yourself up to the mirror and say, is this working or is it not?
So I guess I would then ask, going back to an earlier thing we talked about with watching hoteliers, within the industry grow their careers, what advice would you have for them now, knowing where the industry is, having an idea of where it's headed? What would you tell them as they are trying to figure out their careers, whether it's in finance, development, revenue management, any of those career tracks? What should they know going forward?
One of the things I love about our business is that it's very much an apprenticeship business. You learn by doing. And that is really great news for a young person that says, if I get in there, get my hands dirty, really learn specifics about whether it is financial structuring, whether it is operating a hotel, whether it's taking care of the guest, whether it is managing a loyalty program, the more I can learn about all the pieces, it will contribute to me being more successful in the business overall. So that means use your curiosity. If you're in loyalty, make sure you understand about kind of the business of housekeeping. If you are in finance, make sure you understand kind of all the ramifications around elements of the kind of back office operations of the hotel. All these things tie together to ultimately make you a better lodging leader. And then on top of that, I throw the people part, because our business, at the end of the day, I do believe more than most any other business, is all about the person-to-person connections, both in the business, in the industry, but also obviously with the guests. And the more that you continue to work on that element of your work life, I think that also bodes really well for a great career in our industry. Our industry is, I believe, both healthy and challenged at the same time. And that's frankly like a whole lot of industries out there in today's world. So there's lots of opportunity, but there are plenty of challenges as well. And that's part of it, which is to kind of take every situation that we've got, take the learnings that you've had from your experience in the business, and apply them, think of new ways to do it as we move forward, because there is still lots of opportunity there, but it's not to say that we don't have challenges as well.
So are you able to tell me, some idea of what's next after you reach the end of March and you know, you've signed your final form and you maybe put the calculator and the spreadsheets back in the
Never
drawer,
put the
and
calculator away. Never.
it's in your phone.
Yeah.
But I mean, I hope you take some time to relax. So what are your plans?
So first of all, travel.
That's
Travel and stay at lots of our hotels. So that is absolutely something I look forward to doing. The best way I would describe is there are a number of boxes that I would like to check that have not gotten as much emphasis, given really trying to make sure my priorities of my family and friends and my work have really dominated the scene for a while. So I think in that regard, community service will be something I'm really looking forward to. And in some respects, with an education slant, I love to teach, and so I'd love to do something that's community related that allows me to work with people.
that sounds great.
Yeah, be fun.
I bet. Well, Leeny, thank you so much.
And thank you for all your coverage of the industry. We appreciate it.
Oh, I mean, that's just how it goes, you know. But I really do appreciate taking the time from your busy schedule here.
Absolutely.
So, and thank all of you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm STR's Isaac Colazo.
And I'm CoStar's Jan Freitag. And together we are the data geeks behind Tell Me More, a hospitality data podcast work.
Every month, we bring you a fresh take on the latest hotel data, insights into the travel trends behind that performance, and the big picture topics you should be thinking about.
And we also don't mind getting into some good-natured disagreement from time to time. Hey, when Isaac and I start talking data together, anything can happen, and it usually does.
Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you like to listen.
This episode of the CoStar News Hotels podcast was recorded on January 27th, 2026. It was recorded by Meredith Sheridan and edited by Bryan Wroten. Find all your hotel industry news at costar.com/hotelnews. Thanks for listening.